Hey guys, I'm gonna give it a excuse me. I'm gonna give it a minute to see if anybody joins live. One thing I don't know, for some reason my chat goes away in my OBS when I click on the hmm, I'm just going to assume it's working. Okay, welcome to the new GLFFL weekly pre-wind format. Wanted to do it a little more podcast-like, a little more informal, a little less scripted, a little meaner, a little leaner. But let's go ahead and start. I actually wanted to start with looking at draft grades. I didn't really do anything in reference to our report cards on Yahoo, which is always a hoot to look at. Last year I got an F, so a major improvement this year. Draft grade of C plus. It really loved Doobie Ashtray's draft. Gave him an A plus. Um, Also like Ditka in a Box, Schmidt Show, Cooter's Crew, Tim Quinteros, B minus, C plus. I'm the only C plus. You know, C. They say C students run the world, and that's what we're doing. Drunk Santa D, Noon Improved Jungle Humpers D. That's surprising considering how week one went. Robo Pearson D, Patty Cakes F. If there's a silver lining here, like I said, Slayton last year, I also received an F. And we know how that ended. Actually, it ended with this guy right here, courtesy of Coach Schmidt with this beautiful trophy. I'm really hoping that someday someone other than myself or Devin will get to hoist this thing because no one wants to listen to Devin go through that again. Um, and I think I've had it enough. Uh, okay, let's take a look, and I hope this is not cutting any of this off at week one. I think that's coming in okay. Um, and we're going to go ahead and start with the matchup of the Kovic brothers. Really unfortunate and unlucky for Casey's team. Dalton Kincaid, big old stinker. Marvin Harrison Jr., what a debut. One catch for 4 yards, put him in the Hall of Fame, just like his dad. Didn't really have anybody on his bench that would have saved him. You're not going to bench Dalton Kincaid where he's being drafted. So, not really any pre-gret nominees on his team. Just a poor performance, and sadly, also loses Jordan Love, so he's losing depth at quarterback. Not really a standout performance by Lifetime Zelway either. More so balanced. Um, I think they were evenly matched. If you look at the projection here, almost identical projections. So that's just proof that projections don't mean jack shit. All right, moving on. We'll save that one. Schmidt Show, Doobie Ashtray. Um, really different from the Lifebound's Elway performance, an unbalanced performance by the Schmidt Show, but they got it done. Carried by top heavy scores from Gino, Debo, Barkley, Aaron Jones coming up big. Apparently, he still has some left in the tank. Uh, Godwin, he was a stinker last year. It might be a value pick for Coach Schmidt. Um, and Doobie Ashtray, really a sad and pathetic performance from Doobie Ashtray. Travis Kelsey in the win where they scored 27 points. Where was he? Three catches for 34 yards. Uh, AJ Brown comes through per usual. CJ Stroud, this will probably be a common stat line for him. Really solid floor for a pocket passer. Really propped up his score with that Chicago performance against Tennessee. Tennessee looks like shit. Um, and again, I don't think there's really anyone on his bench he could have substituted. It would have taken, starting Zach Moss and Kyle Pitts, which you're not going to start either of those guys over, who he has in there. So sorry, Devin. 0-1. Moving on. Drunk Santa, Robo Pearson, uh, battle of the stinkers from last year. I'm pretty sure Robo Pearson had the lowest scoring team despite making the playoffs. But Drunk Santa, carried by a big performance from his quarterbacks, his highly drafted quarterbacks, highly touted quarterbacks, to quarterbacks that are going to do a lot with their legs. That'll provide a nice floor for him throughout the season, and he's going to need it because his running backs aren't great. He started Chuba Hubbard in week one, which tells you what his running back group looks like, which did change. And that's a little preview for week two. But Rashee Rice, probably a value there. Cooper Kupp, I was scratching my head when he drafted him in the second round, and it looks like so far, Drunk Santa was right to draft him that high. He was the fantasy MVP for his team this past week. Um, Also, no real regrets for Robo Pearson. There's nobody he could have substituted out that would have salvaged his week. So we're still hunting for that pre-gret of the week, which I think we're going to get it right now. Um, Patty Cakes, Timken Terrors, eking out a week one win. And he was led by, of all people, one of the greats, Baker Mayfield. Almost 30 points in his super flex position. Um, Brees Hall salvaged his week with a touchdown. David Montgomery, game winning touchdown, game winning in overtime, and then also game winning for Patty Cakes. But that also brings me to the pre-gret of the week, Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, almost 17 points sitting on this bench for Timken Terrors, while Javonte Williams did literally nothing in that stinker of a loss by the Donkos. Thanks a lot. Uh, Bo Nix. Thanks for nothing. Josh Allen, yeah, he's going to be there every week. He's going to keep him in a lot of games, but it was not enough this week. 1-0 Patty Cakes, 0-1 Tim Terrors. I hope that's not the start of a similar trend from last week where we have a solid performance in which Timken loses. He was the highest scoring regular season team last year, and he failed to make the playoffs. That's just some bad luck. And that takes us to the biggest blowout of the week and the high score of the week. New and improved Jungle Humpers. Um, I believe, where did they get an F? No, they got a D, I believe, on their report card. Yeah, D. What does Yahoo know? What does AI know? Jack shit. Explosive week, a low scoring week overall from the league itself, but he did enough to get that high score. Didn't need it. Did get a box. Monday Night Football loses Christian McCaffrey. So sorry. Not sure what he would have done there. Maybe starting a fullback. Ramondre Stevenson on his bench. Xavier Worthy. Good performances there. Not regrets because look at the score. Would not have salvaged his week. A lot of touchdowns from new and improved Jungle Humpers. So we'll see if that is indicative of this first week. Will they be able to maintain this pace, or will they be a boomer bust type of team? They've got a lot of boomer bust type of players. Justin Jefferson will probably be up and down with Sam Darnold as his quarterback. We're going to go ahead and take our first look at the standings. How exciting! Week 1 standings. I'm just having to look over to make sure I'm framing everything correctly. First time doing this. Just on the seat of our pants. First place, new and improved Jungle Humpers with that high score. Drunk Santa, and then the rest of his division is currently sitting outside of the playoffs. Schmidt Show, Patty Cakes, Life Finds LA, all 3-0. It's week 1. It doesn't mean anything. If you guys are on 1 and you're giving up already, you've got some injuries, hit that waiver wire, make some trades, stop crying, don't be a bitch. That's the standings. I'm bringing back the oh shit stat of the week. Stat of the week. Joe Mixon, MVP for new and improved Jungle Humpers. A value pick at this point, but considering where he was being drafted and considering his last couple years in Cincinnati. But Joe Mixon had 30 carries in week 1, his first game with Houston, tying a career high he set in 2021. So one game with Houston, 30 carries, 150 yards, touchdown. Nobody could have predicted that. Maybe new and improved Jungle Humpers might say he did, but he didn't. He's lying. I'm going to let's take a look at the matchups. Um, some important matchups, a couple of 0-1 matchups in week 2, teams that are looking for their first win. But I'm going to go with the lone undefeated 1-0 matchup. It's going to be Drunk Santa, Patty Cakes for 2-0. This is for all the marbles, or for a marble, week 2 marble. Um, Obviously, in my opinion, I think the heavy favorite here is Drunk Santa. I'm sorry, Patty Cakes. I think a part of the reason you got that F plus draft grade was taking Brock Purdy. I know it's super flex league, but you took Brock Purdy, who looks to be maybe like a QB, a borderline QB1 this year. You took him in the second round. I believe it was the first quarterback drafted. There were several quarterbacks kept. First quarterback drafted. Pretty surprising. Probably not a great way to balance your roster there, but he did have Brees Hall. That's a good pick. Anyways, Drunk Santa, that he improves his running back core with a trading away uh, Mark Andrews after his stinker of a week, and he's banking on that being a continuing trend. He went out and got Isaiah Likely, spending 50 fab dollars on Isaiah Likely. The next highest I think was me at 17. You can have him for 50. But he went out, traded Mark Andrews, got Najee Harris. Uh, yeah, that was his weakest point, was his running backs. We'll see if that pays off for him. But he's got that staunch quarterback crew and some good wide receivers to balance out his team. Something I'm also bringing back this year is my predictions. I'm not necessarily predicting who's going to win. I'm predicting what it's going to take for each of these teams to win. And taking it back to Najee Harris, I'm going to predict that Drunk Santa wins if Najee Harris scores his first touchdown of the year. It's a low bar, that's not much just for them to get the win. But I think, like I said, the running backs is a weak point, and if he can get a strong performance from his running backs, I think he wins. Patty Cakes, I think Patty Cakes wins if Jamison Williams gets at least 8 targets and Michael Pittman scores a touchdown. So I think he has to do a little more to win, just considering his roster construction. But that's just my opinion. So it means nothing, just like everybody else's opinion. But I think that's it. I think that let me just look over my notes here. I haven't done one of these in a year, so you have to bear with me. But I think that's how these pre-wines go. Um, oh, we do we do have someone in the chat. The chat is working. Um, Coach Drunk Santa says, "Thank you, thank you. If you read this, thank you. So you're welcome. And I hope I cursed you, to be honest. But thanks for tuning in live. Let me know what you guys think about the live format and the format in general, and how I can make it better. Should I have some music? Um, Maybe have someone come stand behind me. I didn't really frame the camera very well, did I? Looks like look like a little kid ordering at the McDonald's uh, counter. Hi, can I have a Happy Meal? Anyways, oh, you guys can see the reflection of my glasses. I hope you haven't been able to see all the porn um, I've had playing in the back.